Hey everybody, I'm Bede, aka The Terrible Australian of supermarcy.com, and it's back. I have decided to bring back my DVD slash Blu-ray update videos. It's been quite a while since I last did one. I believe the last one I did was 9 months ago, and it's funny enough with that episode, when I did that one, I actually hadn't done one for a while until I did that episode, so yeah, so it's been a bit a long stretch in between episodes. So, but I've been thinking about resurrecting this DVD Blu-ray updated series for quite a while now. So I figured now would be the best time to do it. There wasn't any particular reason why I hadn't been doing the episodes in a while. It's just in the last 8-9 months since I last recorded the video. My life's been pretty busy, so I just hadn't had a chance to sort of sit down and sort of do some update videos for them. Even though I've been collecting a ton of Blu-rays and DVDs since that one, so in the meantime, so I figured, with me doing sort of video reviews now for supermarcy.com, I thought, why not bring back the DVD and Blu-ray update videos just for myself, for my YouTube page here. So these ones I'm just doing on my own accord, and since I got a ton of movies to talk about, I actually literally, you can't see it in this video here, but down there I got stacks upon stacks of DVDs and Blu-rays I'm going to be talking about. But if I did them all for right now for this video, it would take at least 2 hours. So I've decided I'm going to sort of spread them out over a couple of episodes, and I guarantee there will be more episodes after this one. So I promise you that. So to start off with, I figured I'll just grab a pile out from over there and sort of start talking about what I've been buying over the past 8-9 months. So let's get right into it. First up, of course, one is a rebuy, because I actually had this on DVD and I decided to rebuy it on Blu-ray, and that, of course, is Flying High, or as it's known in other parts of the world as Airplane. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite comedies. It's an absolutely hilarious spoof, and pretty much was, even though there were kind of spoof films before this one, like with Mel Brooks's films and all that, but this one sort of made it huge overnight, and after this, you get your Hot Shots and Scary Movie and The Naked Gun and a whole bunch of others all coming after this one. And of course, one of my personal favorites, Top Secret. So I look forward to checking this. It's just an absolutely hilarious film. If you haven't seen this one, definitely check it out. That's Flying High. And another one here is Wolf Creek 2. This is the director's cut version. At the time when I bought this, though, you could only have gotten the director's cut version from JB Hi-Fi, so this is where I got it from. Anywhere else, you only get sort of the MA15 cut version. So this is a nice R-rated cut, which I did. When I watched this, I was actually surprised how actually extra bloody this film was. And I'm a huge fan of the first Wolf Creek. I absolutely love it. It's one of my all-time favorite horror films. And this is actually a really good sequel as well. It's not on the level of the first one, but it's still pretty awesome nonetheless. And it definitely feels complete, both tonally and, both from a tone and filmmaking and writing standpoint, it feels like the complete opposite of the first one. And if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. But I can understand, because I know a lot of people who actually didn't like the first one actually really liked this one, because this one's a much more cinematic than the first one was, even because the first one felt more somewhat a documentary, gritty kind of style of filmmaking, and this one's definitely much more cinematic, and it's just really good. And John Jarratt, who plays Mick Taylor, the villain, is fantastic and absolutely terrifying once again. And if you're a huge horror fan, I'd recommend checking this out for sure. Another one is Southland Tales. Now, this is definitely a love it or hate it type of film. I know a lot of people who did not like this film as well. And I'm not going to say it's a good film, but I found it a very interesting film. I don't think it entirely works, but at the same time, I thought it was a completely, utterly fascinating film nonetheless. And I get what writer-director Richard Kelly was going for when it came to this film. And I've only ever seen it once, but it was one of those films that, like, yeah, it doesn't quite work, but I give it credit for being completely ambitious. And to me, that goes a long way. And I look forward to checking... I haven't had a chance to watch this yet, but I definitely look forward to checking it out again. So, that's Southland Tales. Next up is Two Guns, which is the action film starring Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg, which I thought was a lot of fun. Like, I think... And I thought both... Denzel and Mark had really good on-screen chemistry with this one, and they make a really good team. And I just thought it was just a lot of fun, and the supporting casts are all really solid. And if you haven't seen this one, definitely check it out. It's really cool. Also, a bit of the classics is Razorback, which is the classic 1980s Australian horror film about a killer pig that terrorizes the countryside. I've seen this over the years, and yeah, it's a very silly premise, but it takes sort of the Jaws approach, but it's quite effective. Visually, it looks fantastic, and it's directed by Russell Mulcahy, who after this film will go on to make Highlander. So, definitely worth checking out, and it's just a really fun little, awesome little Aussie horror film. Speaking with Aussie films, the next one, of course, is Red Hill, which is sort of a modern-day Aussie action western, which stars Ryan Quanten and Steve Beasley from the Mad Max films. I thought this was a really cool film. This one was a bit hard to find because I couldn't find it in any of the DVD shops. So I did find this one in the DVD shop. It was like one of the last ones I looked for. But yeah, I really like this film, and also Patrick Hughes, the film's writer-director, he would go on to make The Expendables 3 after this one. So if you're interested to check out his debut film, I'd definitely highly recommend it. And it definitely has a lot of John Carpenter, it has a sort of a John Carpenter-esque feel to it. And I think I said this once on Twitter once, that this is probably the best John Carpenter film that John Carpenter himself has never made. So it's a pretty cool flick. Check it out if you're interested. Also, I got here is 12 Years a Slave, which was one of the best, in my opinion, very well deserved of the Best Picture Oscar of its year, and also was one in my number 2 film of 2013, and it's just an absolutely fantastic film, just very powerful, brilliantly acted, brilliantly directed, and it's also powerful and disturbing as well, but it's just an absolutely fantastic and amazing film, and if you haven't seen this one, definitely check it out. It's just fantastic. Also, the Lego Movie, which I thought was a lot of fun. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever that a lot of people have said it is. I do think it's a little bit overpraised, but it is a lot of fun, and it is very creative, and has a lot of jokes in it that I did find really funny. And I can see it as a film that, like, you're probably not going to get all the jokes the first time round, but when you sort of watch it again, you pick up more and more hilarious moments. And I haven't had a chance to rewatch this either, but I look forward to checking this out again for sure. Also, I got another one, Nebraska, which I did write a DVD and Blu-ray review for supermarsy.com, and as well as a cinema review as well. This one, fantastic film. Bruce Dern is fantastic. Will Forte from Saturday Night Live did a really great job as well. And it's just a really great comedy drama from Alexander Payne. And it's just a terrific film. If you haven't seen this one, check it out for sure. Don't worry, I'm almost finished. Also, American Hustle, which is also came out 2000, like the couple of last 3 films that I talked about also came out in 2013. And I have to admit, I didn't really like this film the first time I watched it, but it wasn't until the second time I watched it, I actually enjoyed it a lot more. Like, I don't think it's as amazing as the critics have made it out to be, but I thought it was a lot of fun. But I did prefer, O. Russell's previous films, The Fighter and Silver Linings Playbook, to this one. But I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was a lot of fun, and also the cast all did a pretty solid job in their roles. But particularly Christian Bale and Amy Adams, who I thought were particularly terrific and very well deserving of their Oscar nods. And yep, it's a really good film, and definitely check that out if you haven't seen it either. One here I thought was actually a pretty pleasant surprise is Ender's Game. And I haven't read the original book that the film's based on, and I wasn't sure what to expect from this film, and I actually came out just really pleasantly surprised. I thought it was an awesome little movie, and very underrated as well, because it didn't do that well at the box office, unfortunately, which is a shame, because I would have liked to have seen a follow-up to this film, because it does end, like, even though it does sort of give the film closure at the end, but it also sort of gives, at the same time, the ending works as though, like, you'd like this, that it could continue on in another film, and I would like to have seen where the story would go, but the way that, since the film didn't do as well at the box office, that we're never going to get that, which is a shame, because I thought this was a really good underrated film. Next up, speaking of underrated films, is The Counselor. Now, the last few films I haven't been the biggest fan of. I mean, Ridley Scott is a great director, and there's no denying that, but I felt like with, Robin Hood, Prometheus, and particularly Exodus, Gods and Kings were disappointments, and I know a lot of people who did not like this film at all, but I actually found this a really interesting and compelling film. I can get why people didn't like it, but I don't know, there's something about it that I just found really interesting, and I just found it riveting from beginning to end. Yeah, it's not a film for everyone, and I can understand why people hate it, but I don't know, I just really dug this film a lot. I haven't had a chance to watch the extended cut version of this film yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out again. And finally, this is a rebuy as well, because I had this on DVD as well, so I decided to upgrade, and that is Foot Rot Flats, A Dog's Tale. Now, for all my international listeners, Foot Rot Flats was a comic strip from New Zealand, and in the 80s they decided to turn it into a film, and it was actually both successful here and at the box office here in its home country of New Zealand as well. And I remember watching this film a lot as a kid, and I rewatched it a couple of years ago when I bought it on DVD for the first time, and I thought it was still held up, and it's just a really fun, entertaining family film that does have a bit of a slight edginess to it when it comes to some of its humor, because some of the humor is definitely ones that only adults will get. Not that it's full-blown for adults or anything like that. It's for kids as well, but there's a lot in here that grown-ups can enjoy as well. So that's Foot Rot Flats. Yep, so that's the end of this return edition of my DVD Blu-ray reviews. I forgot what number this episode was, so forgive me. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys very soon for the next one. See you, everyone. Bye.